Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up, Legendary. The greatest marketing show on earth, at least in my opinion. And I think if you listen to this episode, you'll feel the same way because it's real, it's authentic, it's transparent, and you're hearing real stories from real people. And this morning is no different, my friends. We have a wonderful guest, cybersecurity saleswoman, who is building her business through genuine connections and implementing the skill sets and the strategies that we teach here inside of Legendary Marketer. She's going to be talking about her mindset. She's going to be talking about making connections. She's going to be talking about constantly learning and improving her content, and much more. And I'm so excited to talk to her. If any of you are here for the very first time, first of all, put your seatbelt on, get ready for a wild ride. Second of all, if you want to get a text message reminder every single morning when we go live, you can text WUL to 813-296-8553. And if you want to get started with any of our education throughout the next hour or so, you can go to legendarymarketer.com/enroll. And with that being said, drum roll, please. Let's bring out our guest, Erin. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Dave. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Where are you calling in from?
I am from suburbs of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Yep, grew up, born and raised here. Kind of been all around the world or the country, maybe aside from that, but I'm back here. Yep.
Okay, nice. And so, what led you to Legendary? What were you looking for? Give us the nutshell version of your story and how you got here, and let us get to know where you came from and what motivated you to start looking for something like this, or if it fell in your lap. Tell us about it.
Yeah, definitely. So like you kind of mentioned in my intro, I worked a 9 to 5 for a while, cybersecurity sales. That's what I went to school for, got my degree for. Enjoyed it, enjoyed the company, enjoyed the interaction with people, but very quickly got burnt out from that. So much so that it kind of had an effect on my mental health and had to take a medical leave for that reason, for my mental health. And going through that piece of the medical leave, I was kind of like, well, what am I doing? I'm just gonna, get back to my normal self, go back to work, and then probably just get burnt out again. So in that time period, it was about 2 months of the medical leave of not working. I was just, looking for different opportunities, maybe a job, maybe something else. I wasn't really sure, but in scrolling through social media, TikTok, Instagram, like everybody does, I came across somebody promoting Legendary, and I found it, really interesting. I've always had a business mindset, and I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So that kind of piqued my interest as well. That it wasn't just like a make money online type of thing, but it was really, starting your own business as well. So in part, it fell into my lap, but I was also looking for something else aside from the traditional 9 to 5. So yeah, right from there, I, kind of watched for a couple months, maybe a couple weeks. It was probably less than a couple months, and decided to take the challenge and really go all into my education, and was really looking to just kind of go out on my own. I've always kind of been that type of person that wants to go off the beaten path and do something for myself. So yeah, that's in a nutshell kind of how I found you guys. Has definitely been an eye-opening experience, lots of learning, but I've definitely enjoyed it.
And so, did you end up going back to cybersecurity?
I did for a little bit, just because, I started,
Pay these bills. We all get it.
what was that?
You got to pay these bills, right? I mean,
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Plus at that time I was living in New York City, so those bills are a little bit worse than most. But yes, so I did go back to it for probably 6 months afterwards, but was really honestly checked out, and I was more so invested in learning this and, really implementing what I learned so that I could get out of there. So yeah, that's what I did, worked on it during working my 9 to 5, but with the intention of, quitting, which I was able to do, probably 3 months ago-ish.
Wow. So you were able to quit your job and do this full time because of this journey that you started here?
Right. Yep.
Wow. That's a never
Yeah,
gets
that
old.
was the goal. I know.
It never gets old hearing that, and who would have thunk? I mean, I just love meeting people that I've not met yet, that I've not even heard their name, and then suddenly they're guest on the show and they've quit their jobs and are able to replace their income as a result of these skills and in doing this. So that's quite an accomplishment. I mean, what's it like 90 days in working for yourself and not having to do your 9 to 5, now having your own business? You're a digital marketer full time. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's definitely, I mean, life-changing wouldn't begin to describe it, but it's something I've always wanted. Like I said, I've always, had a business mindset, always wanted to be an entrepreneur, just didn't necessarily know how to get there. And even that it was possible online, like you think of businesses as being like brick and mortar businesses, and that's just kind of, like having to invest a ton of money and um, all your time. And that was also something that I was looking for more of, was like time freedom. I just felt really in a 9 to 5 out of touch with family, friends, myself, and just not that I was not able to do all of the things that like I actually enjoyed and made me happy. So, yeah, being able to set my own schedule, work for myself. Obviously, I'm putting in the work and I'm getting everything done, but it's on my own time. So it's when works for me. And yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just been so much better for me. Like I feel truly that some people aren't made for the 9 to 5, and I hate to say that sometimes because we're so trained to think like that is what everybody does, is just gets out of school, gets a 9 to 5, and that's just to pay your bills. But there's other ways, and I'm just glad that I've found that out, because it allows for, financial freedom, but also just that like freedom of time. I've always wanted to just be able to follow my own schedule. Like I'm not somebody who likes to necessarily be told what to do. And with a job, obviously, I'll stay in line with that. But I would so much rather have that control over my own life, my own schedule, and live life on my own terms. So it's definitely been great for me.
Yeah. Well, who wouldn't, right?
Right, right.
Honestly, I think that it just feels too far out of reach for most of us. And so it just doesn't seem real. And so, we kind of just believe that everything else is a scam or everything else is a fallacy but let's address the elephant in the middle of the room, which is that time freedom and that financial freedom, which you're on your way to. I mean, at least being able to escape your 9 to 5, that comes with a level of responsibility, that comes with a level of discipline, that comes with a
Definitely.
level of consistency, and that also comes with an ability to be able to overcome all those beliefs that you were just talking about that society has ingrained in us. We call them limiting beliefs because they tend to limit the what we think is possible. So what were some of yours, what were some of the things that you had to overcome mentally or physically, environmentally, in order to follow through and be successful with this?
Yeah, definitely a lot of different things play into that. First and foremost, just well, first and foremost, a lot of things. I guess mentality of it. I mean, like you were saying, a lot of people don't understand or realize the potential, and that there actually is potential to, start your own business online, whether it be affiliate marketing or something else. There's so much out there, and my eyes have been open to that so much since starting this journey. But I guess like one limiting belief that I had is just whether or not, like, me personally, I could be successful at this, like, knowing that I would put in the time, put in the effort, but still wondering like, oh, okay, maybe, some people just get lucky, or maybe it will not work for me personally. I don't know why I thought that. It's just a limiting belief that people have. But just listening to, I mean, I've come across so many different affiliates in so many different niches, and all of them say the same thing. Like, if you're consistent, if you're constantly improving, both your mindset and your techniques, what you're learning, as long as you treat it like a business, and for me, a full-time job, now that I've quit, you will be able to be successful at it. It's so much more your mindset and what you're telling yourself. Like, I tell people all the time, if you say like, "Oh, I can't do this. This wouldn't work for me," then it most likely won't. Because you have that mindset going into it. Um, but another thing that was a little difficult for me to overcome was, especially after, leaving the 9 to 5, was making sure that I was staying consistent, because I had so much more of this time. And sometimes it's easy to just kind of push off things and be like, "Oh, okay, I'll get that done later, or I'll get that done tomorrow," and then something comes up tomorrow. So just like making sure again that like this is a priority, and remembering why I started it, to, have that time and financial freedom. Well, if you don't put in, it's not a ton of work in my opinion compared to a 9 to 5. Like, it's nothing compared to that. But if you don't discipline yourself to do the simple tasks every day, then um, that could lead to, not being as successful as you could be. So just kind of like that mindset too, of like, you just have to discipline yourself and do those simple tasks every day. And that's really it, I think. You're muted, I think. Yep,
I just realized that
you're good.
you're a cybersecurity gal, so you pretty much, most of my guests, when they see me start talking to myself, they're like, "Is my audio?" You're like, "Dude, you're
I've
muted."
also watched the show a bunch of times, so I've seen you do it.
It's like a grandpa moment, right? You're like, "Grandpa,
It's
you're
all good.
doing that again."
It happens.
Oh my God, you're funny, man. You're young. You're young. I'm old, so these things happen. You're more relaxed around tech, plus you were a cybersecurity gal.
Right.
Um, I'm an old guy. What can I say? At this point, I just turned 40 for Christmas sake. So I make the old, well, I make fun of our boomer friends so much. Boomer moments, I have many relatives that are boomers, but one day the millennials are going to be the boomers, and we're going to, we're already on our way to not knowing how to work our cell phones and all those. So, um, everybody's like, 40 is not old. I know it's not. I'm just joking. It's a little self-deprecating humor, my friends. Relax. All the 60-year-olds in the chat are like, it's not old.
No matter how old you are, it feels like you're old when you're there. I'm not that old and I feel old, so it's okay.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. Life is interesting. This business also, it changes your whole life so much. You become, I think we don't realize how much we're running in life and in our 9 to 5s, and how much we're just hustle, 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 hustle. Always got to be there on time. Always got to be here. Always got to be, always got to be on time. You got to go to this place, got to go to that place. And I'm working for all these people. And then a lot of times when we step back and we just begin to kind of start owning our time, we realize how exhausted we are.
Yep.
And I think you realized that in your cybersecurity job and actually
Yeah.
took time off. And lo and behold, was it odd? Was it God? That's for you to determine. You actually found this during your mental health break from your 9 to 5, if I heard you correctly, right?
Yep. Yep. Yeah. That is, I know I always say, is it odd? Is it God? Is it the algorithm? Because it literally probably was. But yes, it definitely came to me at the right time. And I can totally relate to just like that burnout phase of, and especially in sales, like anybody who knows sales, you could probably work 24 hours a day and not get ahead. So that was just exhausting. Yeah, so definitely a totally different change of pace. And I've always been a hard worker. So it's not like, oh, okay, this is, not work. Like I still treat it as that, but it's so much more freeing not having to have certain time constraints that you need to do things, or have a boss that you need to check in with that's always hovering over your shoulders, and just like not to be as professional, if you would. Like, obviously, I present myself in a professional way, but it's also my business and my thing, so I can kind of be more of myself. I felt like I was not as much myself going into a 9 to 5. I had to talk to like these people who had been in, they're like C-level executives, and they've been in the industry for probably longer than I've been alive. And I'm trying to talk to them, be super professional. And I'm like, I know you don't talk like this in a normal sense. Like, can we just talk a little bit more normally? Like, throw in some jokes, something like that. I don't know. It's just tough for me in that sense. But
Totally. I
yeah,
love that you brought that up because that kind of, you know, every day getting undressed out of your professional clothes and personality. It's
right.
like we all come home from the job, no matter what job it is, and usually change into new clothes, sweatpants, whatever we're going to wear going out. But it's also changing our personality back
Absolutely.
into our actual normal selves. And there is an incredible relief of stress when you are able to be your authentic self 24/7.
Yep.
And even more so when you realize that my success actually depends on me being myself, because lo and behold, it's not just me who doesn't want to be that professional kind of corporate voiced person. The world's sick of that too. And they
Yep.
also don't trust that voice. It's the when we see people on social media, there is a we are looking for relatability. We are looking for identification. If somebody talks like us, or we can see ourselves in their life or in their videos, if we can identify with stories and situations and scenarios that they talk about, that creates know, like, and trust faster than any sales tactic in any conversation that anybody ever learned in sales previously. And that's always a tactic that salespeople have always used is, well, bring up something that's either family related, hobby related, and try to make a identification, a point of common ground, somewhere where you have something in common, so you can have some personal relatability and connection, and you can begin that know, like, and trust factor. But then it's clearly fake. If you
Yep.
were having a sales conversation, you would never be asking about that. So there's a knowing that the small talk is just there as a sales tactic. However, on the internet, it's not. On the internet, it's not. Especially people want you to be yourself. They want you to tell stories about your life. They want to, they go there for entertainment, and they go there for oftentimes some form of education. They're more consciously going there for entertainment. So they want to see you in your pajamas. They want to see you talking about real life situations. The more you are yourself. I just came across this lady last night, Trailer Park Tammy or something like that. And, I mean, I just sat there and watched her videos for a few minutes because it was so funny. I mean, she was just so herself, just, oh my God. And some of the stuff was so vulgar and so just ridiculous. And I just loved it. I mean, I just loved, she was taking questions from her audience. Oh God. But, being from a trailer park or whatever in a normal job environment, it's not something that your boss is ever going to welcome you to talk about. But
Right.
on the internet, we love it. I mean, because we just love seeing people being themselves and embracing who they are, where they're from, what they like, and it gives us an ability to be able to relate to them. So what was it like for you to begin to get on video? I mean, especially as a cybersecurity person, I'm sure that you weren't, so much doing a lot of videos and so forth before this, maybe some Zoom calls, but what was that transition like as you had finished up the education? You went through our challenge, got our blueprints, got all studied up. What was that like for you to then begin to launch?
Yeah, so I mean, starting, I feel like especially on social media, probably even for me being like, I thought, oh, I'm, relatively young. I grew up with social media. This is pretty normal to me. I know how to do all this stuff. Although I have a personal Instagram, personal TikTok, I had no idea how to like really make a reel or anything like that on Instagram. So it's the most difficult to just start doing it, which is why everybody just says to just start. Like you're not going to be perfect when you start. Just do it and you'll get better with time. But for me, yeah, I hadn't had a lot of experience with video, although I will say in my cybersecurity sales, we used to do LinkedIn videos. We'd send them like selfie videos of like us talking. So that was like kind of a little video experience. But other than that, no. But yeah, just it wasn't that hard. And I, made a whole new page. So I wasn't super concerned about like family and friends seeing me or anything like that. And if they did, I also just didn't really care. It was just what I was doing. So, but it's a change from the usual corporate world. And it was hard to also change like, just be my authentic self and like realize that people like that and that's what they, trust and that they want to see versus like you just, I don't know, reading off a script. Not that I ever really did that, but sometimes it's a little bit more calculated than just talking freely. So that's something I've gotten more used to over time. It's just like people actually do like to see who you are. They like to see your personality, show that as much as you can through a video. Sometimes it can be hard because being on the internet is definitely different than being in person and body language and facial expressions and all that good stuff. But just, starting and improving every day is really kind of the two biggest things that I would have to say to like anyone. As long as you start, like you're only going to get better if you're working towards getting better. And I'm working towards that every day. Like I would never call myself an expert by any means of any of the social medias or any of my content. But I'm learning. So it's going to be a learning experience for anyone. Definitely was for me, but it definitely gets easier with time. You're muted again.
You're great. You're great. Grandpa, you're muted. So, Just say grandpa, you're muted from now on.
All right. Next time I will if you do it again.
So you had wrote on your questionnaire that we sent you when we asked you if you want to be on the show, that you had started out in the health niche. Let's talk a little bit about like niche selection and help kind of try to educate people from your perspective anyways about the kind of broad range of niches you can go into, kind of how these skills are transferable. You mentioned earlier that you had done research in lots of different niches and you had noticed a lot of the same patterns. I think a lot of times people come in and think that, these strategies and skill sets and business models that we teach only apply to the online business niche, or if you're talking about making money online or affiliate marketing or whatever, when it's really only the tip of the iceberg. However, a lot of people do go into the online marketing niche to start out with. And I know why I did. The reason why I did was because I was doing network marketing offline, selling lotions, potions, and pills to my friends and family, trying to, recruit them into my business and so forth. And of course, sell products. And it wasn't working. I was 24 years old. And so I came online looking at how to do this online and generate leads online. And one thing led to another. Those marketing skills actually worked for that. I actually was able to build that business with these skills. And then I got into selling courses and coaching and so forth, teaching marketing. That was my transition into this particular niche of online marketing. What did you think and see at the beginning, and what was your process of niche selection? And talk a little bit about how you were. I think you said you first went into the health niche. Talk a little bit about, for the people who don't really see that big picture yet, and only see this as being applied in one or maybe two niches. Talk a little bit about how you see these being transferable skills from your perspective.
Yeah. And that's a great question. Honestly, that's something I've been noticing more and more as I get deeper into it. But yes, I did start out in like the fitness health niche. You guys say in the training, pick something that you're passionate about and that you can really speak to. And that's something I've always been passionate about. I mean, I grew up playing every single sport, grew up, that's just a big part of my life. So I thought, let me go into that, even if it's just to kind of get my feet wet with it, see how it goes. And that's kind of what it was for now. At least I started off there. I did transition into like the making money online niche. But as far as transferable skills go, they are like just what you learn in the course is extremely transferable into any niche. And I know you say that, so I'll like elaborate a little bit more by what I mean by that. I think that picking your niche, like in my personal opinion, is one of the most like important pieces. It doesn't matter what it is. Obviously, there's more profitable ones, and everybody knows what those are. But you can market and sell almost anything online, in my opinion. And obviously, you're not selling something personally if you're an affiliate, but if you have the knowledge and the passion around it, and you have your own personal story, and you show up every day and tell people about the impact that XYZ product, whether it's fitness, cooking recipes, home decor, whatever it is, and you have a good affiliate programs, especially if it's high ticket, that's great, behind that. And then of course going through the business builder challenge, it's definitely that. It's a business builder challenge. So you can, add on to that. You can add your own digital products, your own courses, coaching events, and those type of things. So you can really build around any topic, any niche that you choose. It's certainly for me, obviously I am in the make money online niche now, and I know a lot of people on the show usually are, but I've kind of used it as a, starting point. And now that I'm understanding the skills, how they work, and how they can be transferable into any niche, it's something that I've, started having the wheels turning of how can I, build this into either other niches or more offerings that, maybe are my own. So it really takes you from, I guess, like just understanding how the online world works and marketing in the online world. And I started with the affiliate marketing to being able to really build off of those key core skills and build up like a business of your own, which I think is really amazing. And it's something that I don't think enough people know about, like even brick and mortar businesses or any business. Like I'll come across a social media page of a business and it seems like they're not utilizing those types of skills. And like that, I also want to market to those people and tell them like, hey, you could really, improve your business if you add these skills to your business. It's just a newer concept, I feel like, to people, like online business, online marketing. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. I'm relatively new to it myself. But yeah, I mean, just the skills that you learn, you could literally take into any one of your passions, any one of your existing businesses if you had one. So that's why I think like choosing a niche that you are passionate about is one of the most important things.
Yeah, and even into your job, right? I mean, we have a lot of people who are coming from a job and still have their job and are so quick to want to leave that job. And maybe you can't leave that job right away because you need to, kind of like my stepdad said growing up, don't quit one job until you have another. I mean,
Right.
pretty logical boomer, that's called boomer logic, right there. Not us millennials. We'll quit anything, to run off. And you're even more of, what's your generation? Are you a Gen X?
I have no idea. I'm 25. I've never
I have no idea.
couldn't
So
tell you. I don't pay that much attention.
I know only grandpas like me care. So, one of the things I was thinking about also, I wanted to just give everybody a little bit of kind of game about. We do talk about this in our challenge. We also elaborated on it in our business blueprints, is what are the profitable niches? Well, the obvious ones that I talk and teach about inside of the education is the health, wealth, and relationship niche. Okay. Now, why? Because what those have in common is that people are usually in significant pain where they'll pay significant money to get out of it or find a solution. There's also an ROI attached to things in the wealth niche, right? So what I mean by that is, why would people pull out $100,000 loan that's the only type of debt besides tax debt that's unforgivable in a bankruptcy in America? Why would somebody go into debt hundreds of thousands of dollars? I mean, why have we made that okay in our society? Well, I don't know why. I think it's quite predatory, but I think the reason why people have allowed it, the system, if you will, is because you're buying education in a degree that's going to help you to then go make money. It's very simple. There's a return on investment of that education. And you have a degree too, don't you?
Correct. Yes, I do.
Student loans,
Yep.
possibly?
Yep.
Still paying them off?
Yep. I am. Unfortunately, yes.
Sorry to bring up a sore spot.
Oh, it's all right.
So we have to look at the niche that we're going into and just ask, are people going to be willing to pay for a solution? Is there enough pain here? Is there enough of a return on investment? And so why is the relationship niche a hot niche, a niche where people will put down money? Well, I mean, it's somewhat been validated in couples therapy for many, many decades. People will pay enormous sums to be able to save their relationships. Okay.
Yep.
Relationships are the most important thing that we have in our lives, our relationships. And so we'll pay, we'll put money down, we'll hire people to help us get through. As a matter of fact, most people who do end relationships, no, I shouldn't say most people, but many will go to some sort of a relationship therapist or couples therapist first, right? There's also many people out there who are on dating sites and things of that nature, and who put forth money in order, will travel long distances to meet people, things of that nature. All that stuff costs money to find your perfect mate, to find somebody. So that's validated, right? Now, health, that's another one, right?
Yep.
Oftentimes it can be a little bit more difficult to sell people preventative stuff. However, if they already have the problem and they're in pain, people will do anything to get out of physical pain. And that's why there's so many different products and so many different niche. There's also sub niches of the health niche. So there's diabetes, there's weight loss, on and on and on. And also in that niche would be vanity type health products, where you're getting in shape to try to look good, to potentially attract the mate of your dreams, right? So sometimes they tie into each other a little bit, but those have traditionally been the three niches that are the most profitable, that are the most popular for marketers to go into. However, what the internet, as of the last 5 years or so, has showed us is that, man, you can go into damn near any niche. And we do this in Decade in a Day, which is a workshop that comes with our Blueprints program. We do this every other week. We actually choose a brand new niche. Last week, I think it was chicken coops, how to, sell courses, coaching, even events around raising chickens. You just wouldn't believe how many people out there are interested in this particular hobby / business. And people will pay for that stuff. People will pay for courses, education, how to set it up, live coaching, live critiques, come to an event, out to my farm. Let me show, right? I mean, there's endless amounts of ideas that you can usually implement when you're teaching somebody about something, about how to learn something, about how to do something, about how to have something. And people will certainly pay for that. And I think obviously that's been validated, but we're also primed as human beings to be learners. I mean, we go to school at 4 or 5 years old and sit in classrooms for decades. So people are already used to sitting and learning. And most of the time we have no problem learning. The challenge is doing, right? And that's why, the success rates of starting a business, just like the success rates of lots of things, including you buy your gym membership. How many of us show up on a regular basis, right? So it's not the buying, it's not even the learning oftentimes, it's the doing. And so what have you learned? You have done, you have created some amazing results, Erin, and you should be incredibly proud of yourself. And this conversation has been wildly inspirational. What have you learned about yourself on this journey?
A lot of things. This was like a also part of a personal development journey, if you would, mindset and all those different things. Coming out of like the low point of my mental health, and then kind of doing this. But what have I learned about myself? That is a loaded question. You know, just that you can, and this is something that I've never, had a limiting belief around, I guess, but that you really can do kind of anything that you set your mind to, and as long as you um have the mindset and tell yourself like, okay, I can do this, this is possible for me, then you can. Like, there's no reason that you can't do something. The only reason that you have sometimes will be your own mind or your own mental blocks. So as daunting as it may seem to start something completely new like this that I had no idea about, probably most people don't when they start, and being able to take it from 0 to 100, that is daunting. But if you just look at, the next step instead of the whole staircase and, put in a little bit of work each day, get 1% better, you can absolutely do it. Like, it's you're capable of more than you realize, I guess, is probably what I would say that I've learned most about myself. Because like I said, I didn't know anything about this world at all before I started. And just knocking those limiting beliefs of like, oh, well, can I, will it work out for me? Well, it will if you have that mindset, and just kind of transferring that into everything else that I do, like not just in this business, but anything else that you want to accomplish. If you train your mind to understand that you can, as long as you're willing to put the work in, you can.
Well, you have certainly put the work in, and you have, taken all the necessary steps. The success leaves clues. I mean, you came in, you seized the opportunity when you saw it. Obviously, there was a bit of a processing and kind of getting ready to get ready, but when you finally pulled the trigger, you went full force. You came through, you went through our education, you took the challenge, you enrolled in our blueprints, you got started with purpose, and you actually launched, you actually got started. It wasn't pretty, it never is, and it's never expected to be. Sometimes you feel in total like kind of crisis or scattered when you are launching and getting started. But that teaches us about ourselves and our perfectionism, and we learn so much. As you said, it's a personal development journey, and here you are, having stuck with it, having been able to quit your job and do this full time. It's an inspirational story, and I'm glad we got the full context here, over the last hour or so of what it's really been like for you. And I mean, this is clearly just the beginning,
Right.
for you. I mean, it's amazing to think about, the ripples that are going to come from that will eventually be waves from people in this community in 2, 4, 5, 10 years. I mean, I've been doing this now for 13, 14 years. And, if I would have tried to, within my first year or even second, say, God, is this everything? I've made it. It's like I would have so shortchanged myself. So just to kind of, and I know that's hard when you're in it and you've not yet, you're climbing the mountain, and I'm not at the top of the mountain either. I hope I never am. Right. And I think you pointed that out, that this shows us how we can be forever students, and how that actually is a beautiful place to be, because you never arrive, and you never have to arrive. You never have to know it all. You can be in this process of growing and changing, and it feels good, and there's fulfillment in that, right? Versus the complacency of feeling like I'm kind of stuck and doing the same thing every day. That growing, I think, is where a lot of my happiness comes from, is that every 3 to 6 months I look back at the previous version of myself and say, man, I'm not even the same person. Like, I
Yep.
know so much more than, and maybe it's something about life, maybe, but I'm just in that mindset of, okay, I'm open to change. I'm open to being wrong. I'm open to rearranging my beliefs. I'm open to all of that. And it's a really beautiful, fulfilling way to live. So as we bring this in for a landing, what advice would you tell people who are listening, who are just getting started, because you now do have some experience and can look back and share some wisdom? What's one piece of advice that you needed to hear that you now know that you could give them, and you would give your previous version of yourself when you were starting?
Yeah. Definitely just start where you're at. That's a really short one, but just start. I sat on it for a while, and it's just better off to get the ball rolling. Don't compare yourself to other people's, step 100. As best I still do it, so it's like hard not to, and that's easier said than done. But certainly, don't compare yourself as best as you can. But then mostly just understand that it takes time to learn something new. Like even once you've gone through training, once you actually launch, it takes time to learn and master a skill. And by no means am I saying I've even mastered it or you've even mastered it. We're always learning. But kind of, if I could tell myself one thing, treat it like how you went into your first job. Did you know how to do that job when you started? Like I had no idea. I remember my first job. I had no idea what I was doing for probably 3 to 6 months. I was still like, felt like I was totally lost and still learning. So this is the same. Like you're gonna have points where it seems like you don't know what you're doing, but you're learning, and just give yourself the grace to learn and improve and be consistent with that every day. And that would be probably my biggest piece of advice.
I love that. I love that. We put such unrealistic expectations on this, totally different than we would ever at a job we were starting. I love that you brought that up and said that.
Right.
Erin, this has been wonderful. This is amazing. I mean, holy smokes. God, I didn't even expect that you were going to have, needed to be sharing that you had, are doing this full time now. And I'm so happy for you. I mean, you have, so much in front of you that now you have the space to be able to really, fulfill your highest potential and your purpose for your life, and you be in the driver's seat of that and enjoy life more, as you said, have more time freedom. And I just couldn't be more happy for you. So keep up the great work. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for being so patient with me as I spoke, muted and had all my grandpa tendencies over here. You're kind, you're funny. And I'm glad that you're now able to do something with work where you can be yourself and have some fun and tell some jokes and not have to be put on your professional face all the time, because your personality is wonderful. And I'm glad that you're, finally able to be yourself and do something that makes you happy. So thanks. Come back, see us, keep us posted on your journey, and stay legendary, my friend.
Definitely will. Appreciate it, Dave.
All right. Talk to you later, Erin.
Bye.
All right, my friends, you can go and find Erin over on Instagram at Hustle WER. I'm going to spell it out for you. Hustlewer. HUSTLEWER. Okay. Hustlewer. Kind of like hustler, but it's got the W in there. WER. Okay. So Hustlewer. HUSTLEWER. Find her on Instagram. Okay. I'm going to bring Erin back out here one more time. Am I pronouncing that right? I mean, the way that you intended it to be?
I was laughing in there. Yeah, I mean, yes, if you were to read it as one word, it's technically, I mean, yeah, you pronounce it right, but like hustle, the W is like stands for with, and then ER. Some people call me Air, and that's also my first and last initial. So that's where the logic came in there. But yeah, you pronounced it as correctly as anyone would have.
Yeah. So, and that's totally fine. And we realize that our handle doesn't really matter that much in the grand scheme of things. But as I'm sitting here, pronouncing it and sharing it with others, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't butchering it from the way that you intended it to be. So Hustle with Air, and it's the W is abbreviated, and so is your name. Bless you, my friend. All right. Take care. We'll talk soon. All right.
Sounds good. Have a good one, Dave.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, my friends, Hustle with Air, and the W is abbreviated just as WER. So Hustle WER, all one word. Find her on Instagram, my friends, and learn, follow, support all of the things that you want for yourself. Give to others, and oftentimes that energy and those same things will come back to you. And that's one of the reasons why we do these shows. Speaking of why we do these shows, thank you for all of the supportive comments as always in the comment box. You guys are as compassionate and supportive as they come. Thank you so much. Hopefully Erin has a time to go back and read some of these, because they're really sweet, really kind, really encouraging, and I expect nothing less from this community. You guys are the most supportive, the most kind, the most encouraging people that I've ever come across. You realize that we're in this together, that, doing this with a community, with a large support group like this, makes it much easier. The ability to relate, the ability to identify, the ability to be able to ask questions and encourage each other, also give honest feedback. But this is a big step for most people who come on this show. Many of them have not even gone live before, right? So to get on, to sit here and be interviewed by me, who they've only been watching in videos, can be, intimidating. And so all of us, from me to also you in the comments, encouraging, being compassionate, being patient, asking great questions, validating people for their hard work and their accomplishments and their success, is what makes this the leadership and success factory that it is. And so thank you all so much. It means everything. And when you come on the show, make sure you leave comments and encourage our guests, because they do go read those and they do mean the world. And that's what we also hope to do for you and commit to doing for you. All right, my friends, get out of here. If you want to get started, okay, before we leave, you can go to legendarymarketer.com/enroll, take our challenge, enroll in our blueprints, grab a mastermind ticket, take some action today. Many of you need to start. Some of you need to start over. Give your self permission to do whatever you need to do to meet yourself wherever you're at. Don't compare. Just collaborate. Just find inspiration from what other people are doing. Know that, if you stick with it, your time is coming. What is meant for you is coming. And you are ultimately the one who is in the driver's seat. It's not somebody else. We're going to provide you the information, inspiration, and ultimately, you get to decide how far you want to take this. And so we're going to be here to support you every step of the way. Come back, see us, meet us here tomorrow, as we are here every day at 10 a.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. And you can get a text message reminder right on your phone at 10 a.m. Eastern time with a link to click over. Just text WUL to 813-296-8553. That's WUL to 813-296-8553. With that being said, get out of here, my friends. Have a great day. Stay legendary. Peace.